Hello again. Hope you're having a wonderful day. In this session, we are continuing in the book of Matthew. We're in chapter 10. I'm going to start with verses 16 and go down through 23. I try to break this into logical pieces so that we can read these. Now, Jesus is preparing the disciples to go out on the mission He's given them. He's given them authority to cast out demons and heal every disease and affliction. And He's already told them, how they are to go out. And now He's continuing His instructions for them. Behold, I am sending you out as sheep in the midst of wolves, so be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. Beware of men, for they will deliver you over to courts and flog you in their synagogues, and you will be dragged before governors and kings for my sake, to bear witness before them and the Gentiles. When they deliver you over, do not be anxious how you are to speak or what you are to say, for what you are to say will be given to you in that hour. For it is not you who speak, but the Spirit of your Father speaking through you. Brother will deliver brother over to death, and the father his child, and children will rise against parents and have them put to death, and you will be hated by all for my name's sake. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. When they persecute you in one town, flee to the next. For truly I say to you, you will not have gone through all the towns of Israel before the Son of Man comes. So, here Jesus is describing what they may go through, what they will go through. He's sending them out as sheep. They're to go out as how does he say this here? Innocent as doves. They should go out to spread the word, and to they're not going out on a violent mission or anything like that. Be wary of men, be careful. They will deliver you over to the courts and flog you in their synagogues. Well, the Pharisees and the scribes and the Sadducees, they're not necessarily going to appreciate the word. They already did not appreciate the message that Jesus was bringing, so He's sending out His disciples. They're not going to appreciate them either. And some of this is a little bit of an example of days to come also, because you will be dragged before governors and kings for my sake. I don't think they had any kings in Israel at this time. Governors they had, Roman rule. They were under Roman rule, and they would establish governors. So some of this was a little bit of a prophetic thing too, that Jesus was telling them would happen in the future. So, and He's telling them, if this happens, if you're brought before someone like that, not to be anxious about what you're going to say, because what you're going to say will be given to you in that hour, because it is not you who will be speaking, but the Spirit of your Father speaking through you. And then again, He gets into another section here, which is a little more prophetic. Brother will deliver brother over to death, and the father his child, and children will rise up against parents and have them put to death. And I think back then, as well as nowadays, and I think all through history up to the present and probably going on in the future, these types of things have happened over the sake of being a Christian. Brother will deliver brother over to death. If you look at, I don't know that the Jews practice these types of things, but especially nowadays. But if you look at other religions, Islam for one, in certain countries, if a child says they want to be a Christian or something not Islamic, at least historically this is the case, and I think it can probably still happen in some countries today. They can basically just kill their child and say it's better to kill them than to let them be an infidel or whatever. I don't know that happens a lot now. I'm just giving that as an example that historically has been the case. And I'm not saying just be a Christian. It could be anything that does not agree with their religion. But in this case, this is just an example of, the strife that's going to come from being a Christian, the things that you could go through. You could be persecuted by your own family and turned over. Christians back then in the first few centuries were not treated the best, and there's a reason we have that about Christians being thrown to the lions and stuff. I mean, things happened. Look at Daniel. Even was put in the lions den. He was really put there to be eaten by the lions. I mean, it's just God saved him, kept that from happening. So these are talking, and he was delivered over not by his family, but still the point is still there. So this is a little prophetic, and you'll be hated by all for my name's sake, and that can happen. You can, certain people, even whole groups of people, will not want to hear the word, and they will hate you for just delivering the word, and that can happen. I don't know. There's nothing we can really do about that. If people choose to be that way and to not listen and to not be at least accepting enough to understand that you have that belief. But here also he's still giving them instructions now. Still giving them instructions on what to do when they persecute you in one town, flee to the next. For truly I say to you, you will not have gone through all the towns of Israel before the Son of Man comes. And I don't know if this was some part also of an ongoing mission that he did during his ministry. I'm not really clear, but this also sounds a little prophetic. So I just wanted to mention that, because I don't know how long they went and did this type of mission. If they did this, as they moved around during Jesus' ministry, did they go out to the other outlying towns and continue to do this? They probably did. So, and here I'm understanding that he's saying they will not have covered all of Israel before the Son of Man comes. That's when he was crucified and he came into his glory, and really we renewed into the new covenant versus the old covenant. So there may be a more prophetic thing to that, but that's how I'm reading that, as far as in a normal sense, as he would have been talking to them at that time. And so this was part of that, and he's going to give them more instructions. So we're going to continue on with verses 24. I'm just going to move this up to the top here. Alright, so 24. And, well, basically just 24 and 25. A disciple is not above his teacher, nor a servant above his master. It is enough for the disciple to be like his teacher, and the servant like his master. If they have called the master of the house Beelzebul, and I think that's basically another name for the devil, how much more will they malign those of his household? So basically just saying that, none of you are better than your teacher or above your teacher. It is enough for your disciple for you to be like your teacher, like your master. And if the master is bad, if the master is bad, if the master is evil, then how much more will they malign those of the household? Well, that's a comparison, because some of the Pharisees had already mentioned, they said he cast out demons, by the power of demons. So they were already trying to malign Jesus. So of course they're going to malign the disciples and the apostles when they go out as well. So it makes sense to expect that. It's what he's telling them. All right, so I'm going to stop there, and we're going to come back and try to finish these instructions off. This is a long section, and the reason this is important is that these same instructions can be basically applied to us today. Maybe not in an exact perfect manner, in that we do things differently due to it's thousands of years later, technology has changed, we have different things, and we're not routinely flogged in the synagogues nowadays, so I'm just saying, but in general, a lot of this can be applied to us today, and it's important that we look over this. These are good instructions for all of us as Christians, since all of us in some way should be disciples and evangelists for Jesus and the Word of God. So I'm going to come back and we'll try to finish these up. We'll see how far we get. So thank you very much for listening. Let me know if you have any questions or any insight that you'd like to share. And God bless you. You have a good day.